cannot take this anymore. Saying everything I said before. All these words, they make no sense. I find bliss in ignorance. Less I hear, the less you say. You'll find that out anyway. Just like before. Everything you say to me says me one step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. I need a little room to breathe, 'cause I'm one step closer to the edge. I'm about to break. I find the answers aren't so clear. Wish I could find a way to disappear. All these thoughts, they make no sense. I found bliss in ignorance. Nothing seems to go away. Over and over again. Just like before. Everything you say to me says me one step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break.
Need a little room to. Oh, what is going on, guys? Welcome to Career Retrospective of Off the Top Media. In one of our most anticipated episodes that us here at Off the Top Media, Rivet City Radio, have been looking forward to. Unfortunately, tonight, Nate is out sick. I am your host, Shadow. Joining me tonight, Metal Mike and Sean B. What is going on, guys?
What is up? I'm excited for this one. Super excited for this one.
Debuting a new first look for tonight's episode. Had to do it for my boy Chester.
Yeah, it's going to be an emotional roller coaster episode. Now, we all know how the show kicks off. Nate goes over the outline with everybody. I don't want to do it tonight. I've graciously asked Mike to be the speaker of this. So, Mike, when you're ready, take it away.
Alrighty, so just to give y'all a trigger warning here, there will be discussions of drug use, sexual assault, and suicide in this podcast. If you are sensitive to these topics, please leave now. So to get started with information here on Chester Bennington. Chester was born in Phoenix, Arizona on March 20th, 1976. Bennington was born to a mother who was a nurse and a father who was an investigator of child sex abuse crimes. Citing Depeche Mode and Stone Temple Pilots as inspiration, he always longed to be a musician and dreamed of becoming a member of Stone Temple Pilots. More on that later. From age 7 to roughly 13, Bennington was repeatedly sexually assaulted by an older male friend, keeping it a secret from the entire time. He eventually informed his father years later, but chose not to press charges. His parents were divorced when he was 11, and this impact of that, along with the continued sexual abuse, led Bennington into a deep depression at an early age. In high school, Bennington began abusing alcohol, LSD, cocaine, meth, opioids, and other street drugs. At age 17, his mother discovered his drug use and confined him to the house at all times unless at school. Shortly after high school, he began to pursue a music career, forming bands called Sean Dowdell and His Friends and Gray Days. He then met a group that went by the name Zero and later by the name Hybrid Theory in the year 2000. They again changed their name to Linkin Park and released their first album titled Hybrid Theory after the band's previous moniker. Linkin Park consisted of Chester Bennington at lead vocals, Mike Shinoda, who was a producer and co-lead vocals, Brad Delson, who was the guitarist, Dave Farrell, who was on bass, Joe Hahn, who was the DJ, and Rob Borden, who was on drums. From the year 2000 to 2017, they released 7 studio albums and sold over 100 million while producing several chart-topping hits. Linkin Park is the only artist with 2 songs on Spotify's timeless list, with Numb and In the End cracking the top 10. From 2013 to 2015, Bennington achieved his dreams of joining Stone Temple Pilots, serving as their lead singer in this time period. Despite Linkin Park's overwhelming success, Bennington's depression was such a roller coaster that it still plagued him throughout the years. In May of 2017, Chester Bennington's best friend and lead singer of Soundgarden and Audioslave died by suicide. Barely 2 months later, Bennington would also commit suicide at the age of 41, leaving behind a wife, 6 children, and millions of fans around the world. Gentlemen, that is some of much information on Chester Bennington. So,
it's a lot to digest when you really go into the thick of things. A career in music spanning, give or take, 22 years. It wasn't very long in the retrospective things. In the music industry, it's more than most. The longevity is a huge thing, and Linkin Park and Chester and Mike and Chester, them two, kept rejuvenating Linkin Park with the times. And it's a tribute to them. And then when Chris died, it really started to mess with Chester. And I'm not quite sure if Heavy was written before or after he passed.
So Heavy was actually written. I think they were in the process of writing that record and finalizing that record, because that record, I believe, came out in May of 2017. Got to meet Aaron Lewis that day.
Oh, shit.
So I will say this: anybody that gets the opportunity to meet Aaron Lewis, a very cool, laid back dude, super nice, just does not like to take pictures. He'll do them. He'll do them, but he doesn't like taking them.
I told him to flip off my camera. That's fine.
He was super, super cool about it. Next subject. Linkin Park will be eligible to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2025. I'm sure we all got the answer on this one. Do you think they deserve to be inducted?
Yes.
I think the answer overwhelmingly is yes, and they should be a first ballot. It's going to be one and done. They're not going to have to go 2025, and they're not there yet. They're going to be, as soon as they're eligible, they're going in.
Yes.
It's not one of those things of and if where, it's first ballot, you're going. And if it doesn't happen, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier in this episode, Linkin Park, their first 2 major albums stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Because anybody that's even just getting introduced to music and you show them Linkin Park, it hits. And then they get into different genres because of Linkin Park. Some people have gone into EDM because of Linkin Park. Some people have gone into rock. Some people have gone into rap. It doesn't matter. Linkin Park is the gateway, in my opinion, to a lot of other genres.
I mean, I honestly, I'll say this. My answer is yes. Not only because of being a fan of them, but you got to look at the things outside of just their music and what they did. Look at the impact they've had on the music industry, and look, and I guarantee you go to any artist today, you take 10 artists and line them up, 9 of those artists are going to tell you that Linkin Park inspired them.
When Chester passed, how many artists, I didn't mean to cut you off, how many artists from different genres would play their songs that night?
Oh, when it was in 2018, I went to go see Motionless in White, and they were on tour with it was my first night and first time seeing Ice Nine Kills that night, my first time seeing oh God, I forget what other bands were on that tour, but anyways, they actually did a cover of One Step Closer, and I mean, you got look at that, Motionless in White, Chris, he was inspired by Chester. The band From Ashes to New, you listen to them, and I'm not saying they sound like a Linkin Park, but they have a similarity to Linkin Park because they do the rock and hip hop thing.
I don't like referencing this a lot when we're on our network doing this, but there's a guy, and if I find it, I'll send it to you. There's a guy on TikTok which again, I don't like mentioning TikTok on this platform. But there's a guy on TikTok that covers a lot of Chester's vocals. He's nowhere, I wouldn't say he's Chester level, but he's really good.
I mean, you have a lot of even upcoming musicians that sound like musicians that are out there. That's the thing is a lot of newer musicians, they try to range their voice to a certain thing. Even if they're being inspired by somebody, they'll range their voices to a certain thing. So, for example, I mean, you take bands like Slaughter to Prevail, and I'm trying to think of the other band, and they've been very big on social media as of late. But like, you can tell the vocalist from this other band that I'm trying to think of, he's trying to range himself to Alex the Terrible, but he can't get to that point, but he gets close to it.
I can't. I don't know what I don't know what this comparable would be off the top of my head. Said off the top. Escape the Fate. They have a really good sound too, where they're not yelling at you.
I mean, that's another person, Ronnie Radke. He had huge inspiration from
I love Ronnie.
when he first started Escape the Fate. I mean, he was only with them for one album before he, left and had to take care of his business, and then got done with his business and formed Falling in Reverse. But
as much hate as Ronnie gets, he's fucking an amazing artist. Like,
oh yeah, highly agree.
The range he has, the fucking type of way he can switch up from doing like chopper shit with his rap to rock to screamo to emo to whatever the fuck it's called. I'm sorry, like I'm not used to screamo, whatever the hell it's called, metal, whatever. He can do it all, like, to me, and that's just.
It's funny how you say you're not used to the screamo thing, because I'm still at 32 years old. I still listen to a lot of that screamo stuff that I listened to as a teenager, and I'll be playing it in the car, and the kids are like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Yep.
I'm like, "This is my shit." Like, and they'll be like, "Well, let me put it on." So I give them the aux cord. No disrespect to anybody, but Juice WRLD is not that good.
It's not. To me, rap is trash now. Like,
it's not rap anymore. It is what it is.
Like kind of piggybacking off what Sean said, like with Ronnie Radke, I seen Falling in Reverse over the summertime on their tour with Ice Nine and Slaughter to Prevail and Catch Your Breath, and to this day, I will say this: to this day, I still cannot figure out why that show felt so fucking special. There was just something about that show that made me leave and say there was just something special about this show.
It's one of those you had to be there moments.
Yes.
That's how it is.
Yes. And I don't want to say that like just even saying that and accepting that as an answer does not give me that satisfaction of the like whole figuring out why this show was special, because I'm still sitting here trying to think, why the fuck was this show so special?
Right. And you'll never get that answer because something in your body vibrated differently to it. And that's just how it went.
Yeah. I mean, and there's other artists like we're speaking about other artists that were inspired by Chester, Ronnie Radke with that. And I just said that about Falling in Reverse. Like I said a few moments ago, Chris Motionless from Motionless in White. I will say this every time I leave a Motionless in White show, I always say I need to see them again. I've seen Motionless in White 9 times. The band I've seen the most was Breaking Benjamin at 10. I'm one away of Motionless in White from tying Breaking Benjamin. That's why the Motionless in White, I always say, anytime they come around again, I need to see them. I need to go see them. I don't care who they're touring with. They're the headliner. But I'm going, because they are that band that I need to see again.
Right. I mean, just like me and you have had discussions, like we missed out on, and I'm throwing this to wrestling for a second. We missed out on Bray opportunities.
Oh man,
I don't want to miss out on these opportunities anymore. If I have the means and I can go, and it's within my means to do so, I won't miss something like that.
So, if Shadow, if you don't mind, this was not on. This wasn't on the criteria, but I want to kind of. Can I openly ask a question?
Of course, that's what the show flow is about.
Okay. So, so Linkin Park, obviously, they tested the waters by not changing up their genre, but they tested by changing up their sound through each of their records.
Yeah, they changed up the style.
If you had to pick one band, musician, artist that throughout the years did the same thing and you felt was highly successful with it, who would it be?
This is gonna sound really stupid, and you guys might laugh, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I think it hits what Mike's asking, and that'd be Nickelback.
Okay. They've definitely done it. They have. I can agree. No, I can highly agree with that. They have.
Nickelback is like Linkin. They've changed up a lot of their sound to kind of get with the time.
Their one record was almost like a country record. It almost had that country feel to it. And now they're kind of dipping their toes into the whole, like, adding a little bit of like the hip hop feel to their music, kind of give it a flow. Like, no, I highly agree with that one.
For me, you said it can be like any artist, any
artist, band, musician.
Right.
Whatever.
I got two. One is obviously my favorite rapper ever is Tech Nine.
Mm-hmm.
His beats, his flows. I mean, obviously he still does his speed rap and everything, but he still does. He can do rock. He can do EDM. He can do stuff like that. And then I want to like throw out my friend Chloe Red. She can do rap. She can do country. She can do rock music, pop music, and she's just starting out. So imagine the brains that she has already, just starting out and doing this all through TikTok and making songs and having over 1 million some plus streams already on Spotify and stuff like that. And it's amazing. Obviously, Jelly Roll becoming a rapper to a rock country artist, and what he's already accomplished just switching genres. So
I'll say this, a lot
before you go, Mike, and answer your question yourself. I have two more or three more. Taylor Swift. She's changed up her style a little bit throughout her albums.
Okay.
Another one would be, and I'm gonna get my Eminem card revoked for this. I swear to God, Machine Gun Kelly. Because as much as I don't like him, I'll give him credit. He's dipped his toes in different styles, and it's worked.
Definitely.
And third, and I think this one speaks volumes considering how Austin started. Post Malone.
Yes.
Oh, I do like Post Malone, especially with Ozzy Osbourne. That song he has with Ozzy.
And yes, I refer to him as Austin.
To kind of go off of what Sean was saying, a lot of new up and coming artists, they are dipping their toes. I mean, I come across a lot of new up and coming artists that are, part of the reels that you look on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, anything. A lot of these artists are dipping their toes into, messing around with different genres. They'll, one song will be rap, one song will be hip hop, one song will be rock, another song will have that country feel to it. A lot of new and up and coming artists are dipping their toes to kind of not only find their sound, but where they're going to be comfortable and go. Yeah, and again, they're keeping it open to get new fans. Exactly. But two bands that I'll have to say really changed over the years, that I've listened to, that have changed themselves up. Number one, Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah.
Definitely have changed themselves up a lot. And then one that kind of kept for the past 20 something years, that have kept the flow of the era that we caught Linkin Park, Papa Roach. Papa Roach.
Yeah, I can agree.
And I'll say this, you hear a single by Papa Roach and you're kind of like, I got to listen to this a couple times to kind of get used to it. But then when you listen to the record that song is on, you're just like, I fucking love this. It's a great record. Like, I fucking love this.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the comment. The Beatles, Joe says.
I mean, you could go that. Honestly, I'll say this: you can go that far back and find artists that have done it back in their time.
Right.
That have changed it. Look at Johnny Cash.
So, okay, pause for this conversation of Chester and all this that you've asked. Is Johnny Cash gospel, or is he country, or does he talk sing? Because that is the greatest debate in Johnny Cash history.
I honestly, I would have to say he is more along the lines of a talk singer.
Okay.
I think so, because when he plays his, when he has music going, when he has the instrumentals going, yeah, he has vocals that match the instrumentals, but he's not toning himself to the instrumentals.
Right. Sean, do you have a theory on this one? Because I have my answer, and you'll understand in a second.
Oh, that's a tough one.
It's an age-long question that nobody seems to know, like, to perfection, right? So
I think he's a mixture of all three, like, because he can do all three. But I would say like country gospel, maybe. Like for me, oh, yeah, that's really tough.
So mine, and this is my honest take, is he's a storytelling musician.
I can agree with that.
Because like you said, it kind of goes to Mike's point and it kind of goes to your point. He's not these genres. He tells a story within his music, but it's not in the modern, and that's why it worked. And that's why so many people loved him, because like Folsom Prison, Ring of Fire, Jackson, like these songs, they're storytelling.
Yeah.
And Mike, you said Papa Roach. I'm going to tell you a song right now that is mine and my wife's song, and is No Matter What, which is not one of their most popular songs ever. But that is mine and her song. It fits us to a T.
My favorite one of all time from them is the one that they did with Maria Brink from In This Moment.
Another band, and then we'll get back to Chester, that's underrated, Seether, and they've taken such a long break.
Another band, if you get the opportunity to see them live, do it.
Seether's amazing. I used Remedy for my Backyard Wrestling Days theme song.
I want to say the one artist also that's like in the realm of Johnny Cash from being back in the day that switched up a lot was Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. I don't like Elvis. I think he's never. Anyways.
Yeah, well.
So our next thing is pretty much if we have any other opinions that we may have regarding Chester, including his music, personal life, death, etc. Anything else that's on your guys' mind?
I'm going to say this because I know where Sean's going with this, and I know where I want to go with this, but I think we should leave it on a high note tonight, because where we can go, it could get dark really quickly. So I'd rather just keep this uplifted for now. We'll talk with Nate about doing a dark side of this kind of episode. Maybe not. But
Patreon exclusive, maybe.
Yeah, I think that the conversation that we would have would go a little, and I'm sure, Mike, you probably feel the same way with that, because we all have our own takes and all that given the world today. But my other opinion on Chester is, other than the only words I have to say is thank you.
Yeah, you definitely took the words out of my mouth. I mean, back when he passed, yeah, we had, Facebook, Instagram, and stuff like that, and you can make your post of saying, thank you, Chester, all that stuff. But now to physically be able to say it for anybody who watches this, listens to this, to hear me physically say it, is almost like that closure moment in a sense. I don't know if it will ever have the closure moment, but it's just that nice little feel of a closure moment of saying, thank you for what you did, not only musically, but what you did for me personally. Um, and not only personally of being a musician, but personally as in life, like helped me get through some very, very hard times before I was comfortable with opening up about stuff that I go through on a daily basis. Being comfortable with, you know, and it's something that I fight with every day is being comfortable with me. Like I fight with that every every day. I fight with just being comfortable being me. And by all means is like when you see me, when you talk to me, you know, whether it's on the phone, through video chat, on here, anything, you're getting me. This is me. Like I'm not being fake. I'm not putting on a facade. I'm not giving you a another side of me that you only see. You don't see no. You see the real me, and just everything that he was a part of that. He was a part of making me feel comfortable, even if it's for a minute. Made me feel comfortable with being me and feel comfortable with talking about and opening up about stuff that goes on up here. Because, like in the very famous video that goes around, sometimes this is not a safe place. And you have battles that go on. Being able to open up and talk about it definitely relieves that. And anybody who sits and listens to me, even if you're just the open ear, and I don't care whether you care or not, anything like that, just being that open ear and just hearing me mumble on about anything that I'm going through, I appreciate you. Thank you. And I can go all night. I'm sorry.
In what Mike just said before Sean gives his closing thoughts, Chester once said, I want to be more like me and be less like you.
Hey, how do I follow that? That was a perfect ending statement. Yeah, like I just want to say thank you, Chester.
In the words of Chester Bennington's wife, fuck depression. Now, we're not going to do the typical outro, but I want to say this concludes this episode of Career Retrospective. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Sean, for joining me tonight as we discuss this. It's been a great pleasure. I've exposed myself a little bit more emotionally than I normally do on the shows, and you two as well. So I appreciate you being real and honest and having a great show with us. I will say that in 2 weeks' time, before we hit the outro here, 2 weeks' time, we are covering everybody's favorite Santa Claus, Mick Foley. And that should be a great episode.
I'm gonna wear a Santa
2
suit.
weeks. And Nate will be hopefully back, because as much fun as this is doing it, it's weird without him. But with that being said, thank you for tuning in to Linkin Park and Chester Bennington's Career. Have a great night.